Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. So today is my last day here in Japan. I know, I'm really sad about leaving. I could have extended my trip by a few days, but I knew I'd just be delaying the inevitable. My flight home is going to be 13 hours and I think the journey in total is going to take about 20 hours because I have to stop off in Finland to change planes and wait there for 2 hours as well. As always, I'm going to be going in with my Tom Ford cushion foundation. So yeah, to start with, I have really loved my time here in Japan. I love this country so much. Throughout my whole trip here, people have been so respectful, and I think the people are really what makes this country work so well. That's one thing that really stuck out to me that's different from the UK. Not that people aren't nice, but for example, when you go into a shop here, literally the majority of the time there's someone on the door ready to bow to you and say welcome. And yeah, the UK could never do the UK could never do that. When you go shopping in the UK, you know, you go into your shop, you pick up what you need, pretty much by yourself. But in Japan, it's like, no, the moment you step into the store, welcome, you know, and they start speaking to you, like they watch you very carefully as you look and browse around the store, and they come over to you and they're like, oh yeah, this is, I don't know, for example, when me and my boyfriend were at a jewelry shop, the lady was like, oh, this look good on you, oh, do you want to try this one, this is our newest. And like the whole like shopping experience is like elite. You rarely get like arguments like breaking out on public transport and stuff like that. And in the UK, I have definitely seen my fair share of of drunk people on the bus. Also, people are so clean here. One thing I realised is that I'm not getting sick anymore. Like for the past few months in the UK, like before I came here, I was getting really sick. Because I'm a student, that might be the reason. I'm around like uni students. No, everyone is so clean here. Everyone is wearing masks, everyone is hand sanitizing. Masks here are a huge thing. And honestly, I do understand the mask thing and I respect it, but it is very extreme. Everyone here is wearing a mask. Everyone, and I mean everyone. I mean children, I mean elderly people. Everyone is wearing a mask, and if you're not wearing one, you stick out like a sore thumb. And obviously in the UK, like even though we've had COVID, people just aren't wearing masks anymore. When I go around Brighton, where I'm living, I rarely see someone with a mask. Maybe there's one odd person, but yeah, here it's just a whole different ballgame really. When me and my boyfriend were outside, we were walking through like a shrine and there was literally like no one else around. It was an outdoor space, but still people were keeping their masks on outdoors, and I was kind of confused because I thought that you could take your mask off outside, but no, masks stay on outside, inside. I've seen people wear masks in their car by themselves, and that might just be a habitual thing, but for me, I have struggled. I've been doing it because I have to, but another thing here, the toilets are like a huge plus if you live in Japan. They are like the most technical, they're like little robots. There's so many options on the toilets. There's even an option to like cover your peeing sound, which is something I've always wanted actually. When I was at school, I used to get really embarrassed about like my pee noise for some reason, but yeah, in Japan they have brilliant toilets that are always really clean. I've never walked into a toilet in Japan and there's been like literal poo down the toilet or anything like that. In the UK, public toilets are always, I mean, there are some okay ones, but there are some musty toilets, and I mean musty toilets. So yeah, Japan is, from my experience, a very respectful country and very clean. Another thing is Japan is super convenient. Like in the UK, as a convenience store, I'd say we have the Co-op. The Co-op is our like main convenience store that sells like basic groceries, chocolate, and just basic essentials. But in Japan, again, they have taken it to a whole new level. They call them konbinis out here. I think I don't know whether I'm just making this up, but the government tried to make it where every 5 minutes, by walking, every 5 minutes there should be a convenience store. And obviously these stores sell like the basics, like ready-made food, chocolate, stuff like that. But one thing that really surprised me is that you can buy like Disneyland tickets at these convenience stores. Like, imagine being able to go to your local co-op and buy like a Thorpe Park ticket. Yeah, you can buy tickets at the convenience store, you can print things. I don't know, let me know if I'm missing anything, but another thing is you can use toilets in the convenience stores. And in the UK, I'm pretty sure co-ops don't have toilets. Well, they do, but I think there was one time when I was like 7 years old that the co-op let me use their staff toilet. But I feel like toilets in co-ops need to be a thing. Like when you want to just stop off, I don't know, when you're outside. Japan really get the small things right, if that makes sense. You can always do a lot of things in one place. But one thing I have been missing, or a few things that I have been missing, I've really been missing Ben & Jerry's. I know that's so random, but out here they only have Haagen-Dazs, and one interesting thing is I was actually researching why is there no Ben & Jerry's out here? And apparently Ben & Jerry's pulled out of the Japanese market like 8 years ago or something. It didn't take off because it didn't seem like classy enough, so they eat Haagen-Dazs out here. Yeah, Ben & Jerry's chocolate fudge brownie is my favourite ice cream, so that is not good. Haagen-Dazs just doesn't hit the same for me. I don't know. So when I went to the shopping mall and went to like the food court area, an interesting thing I observed is that Japanese people only really eat Japanese food. And I know that sounds kind of obvious, like you're in Japan, Rebecca, I know. But for example, in the UK, we don't really eat British food. I mean, we've got like roast dinners, fish and chips, beans on toast. But if a British family eats out, I feel like we would go out for a Chinese or an Indian, get an Indian takeaway or something like that, order pizza from Domino's. But in Japan, there wasn't really a range of like world cuisines, if that makes sense. There was just like ramen, sushi, tonkotsu, yakiniku, like these are all Japanese kind of concepts or foods, ways of cooking things. I'm not complaining about that. I love the Japanese food I've had over here. I rarely meet someone who doesn't like Japanese food. Like even my friends who have like the most basic British palate of a child love Japanese food. If anyone knows where I can find like British baked beans in Japan, please let me know. I know I've been eating Japanese breakfast every day for my 3 weeks here in Japan. And I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of crave the taste of home. I don't know whether I actually miss the beans on toast or the feeling of home, if that makes sense. Also, have you guys seen the car parks here in Japan? So I'm not talking about like normal inside car parks with the levels. They have like machines that you can drive into and they like shoot up your car into this building. Like they store, in some places, mainly in cities, they store your cars like vertically in like a tall building, and a machine just pulls it up into the building. It's crazy. My impression of Japan as a British person is I feel as if Japan is very technologically advanced. Things are very orderly out here, very clean, the streets are very clean. There's no bins even because bins smell. People have to take their litter home. My lips are so dry this winter. I'm really struggling. My housemate told me that you shouldn't really wear lip balm because apparently it stops your lips. It like stops your lips from producing oil because it relies on the lip balm, and then you end up with crusty lips all the time. So I haven't been using lip balm, but my lips are struggling. I think I just need to drink more water. Architecture is so much different here. Like you'd expect that. I feel like there's a combination of modern and traditional here in Japan, which I really love. I love how they do it. Like on this street right now I'm in a modern house, but then opposite me, for example, is a very old looking traditional Japanese house with like the roof shape and the tiling and the wood. In the UK, I feel like our estates look very uniform. As in, I live on like a typical like British estate in the southeast, and yeah, all of the houses are the same. Also, I don't think they have semi-detached or terraced houses out here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't actually seen many or any at all. I think they probably do exist, but I haven't actually seen any. Another thing about Japan is that people here don't really speak English. I know in Tokyo some people do, or they do to a certain level, but here where I'm staying in Nagoya right now, which is a city that is more south of Tokyo. Literally no one speaks English. You have to speak Japanese if you want to communicate. I feel like British people would struggle with that. Like if you hadn't studied the language beforehand, I think foreigners here would struggle in Japan without knowing the basics of the language. I mean, before coming to Japan, I was used to being able to go into Europe and just speak English because people there had a good level of English, but here, that is not. I've been forced to use what I know of Japanese, which has been super scary. And it's also been really, it's really humbled me because my Japanese is not as good as it should be for how long I've been studying. Another thing that surprised me as a British person in Japan is how cheap everything is out here. And I know that's kind of a controversial comment. I think I've spoken about it before in my previous video. To me, everything is so cheap out here. I mean, I know the UK is going through a cost of living crisis, but I thought everywhere kind of was. Even the groceries in supermarkets are so much cheaper than the UK. And the quality, I feel, is quite a lot better as well. That might be because I shop at Aldi, which, if you don't know, is like a very sort of cheap budget supermarket in the UK. One thing I don't miss is how late the buses are in the UK. When I was in sixth form, I didn't even go to school sometimes because the bus just wouldn't turn up, and then I'd get sick of waiting for like an hour at the bus stop because I'm from like a really small village. There's like one bus that goes through it like every few hours, and if I missed that bus or that bus didn't come, I just didn't go to school. But here that would not fly. Literally, if the train is 2 minutes late here, it's like bowing, it's like we're so sorry. Another thing I noticed was in the UK, we don't really have tall buildings. I mean, I know in cities like London there are a few buildings that are tall, but when you compare it to Japan and Tokyo or any city really here, there's a lot more tall buildings. Also, check out this really cute bag that I got for 300 yen in a magazine in Japan. How cute is it? It's a Jill Stewart bag, which is a really popular makeup brand out here. It's so cute. It has 300 yen, by the way, is like £1. I got a magazine and this like tote bag. Is it tote bag? I don't know. Just for like £1. If you have any video requests or anything you want me to talk about, please comment and I will respond. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.